I just want to take a moment and talk about the whole Republican response to the Epstein file thing and the backlash that we're very obviously witnessing, even from conservatives, such as myself. Um, yeah. Um, I have always considered myself a very fairly conservative person. I usually do not go live with videos because I really don't care to really put my commentary or my own opinion out there that much. I very rarely do videos like this, but I think that this is something that needs to be said. I want to clear my position on this to the world, to my friends, and to everybody else. And on this one, I really feel like I just need to get this off my chest. So, where better to put it on than on YouTube, eh? Probably seems counterintuitive, but yeah, I'm gonna go ahead with it anyway. So, this whole Epstein file thing is obviously really upsetting. It's infuriating. We are seeing a huge backlash, even from President Trump's own party, the conservatives, or the MAGA movement, or whatever you want to really call it. There have always been this group of conservatives within the Republican Party that did not favor Trump. I was kind of in the middle on that one. I consider myself a fairly conservative person. I have some liberal views, but I consider myself a fair conservative. I've had my disagreements with Trump in the past. I'm gonna go ahead and put it out there. I did not vote for Trump, not a single time. I've always voted third party because I just do not feel that with Trump versus Hillary, Trump versus Biden, Biden versus Trump, that we were getting the choice that we should be getting. I mean, George Bush, Al Gore, Bill Clinton, John Kerry, Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, Donald Trump, 360 million Americans, and that's the best that we can do. That's pretty disappointing. But the one thing that I have always agreed with Trump on was the whole, what do you want to call it, a swamp or whatever. I pride myself on being American. I'm very fortunate to be an American citizen, to have been born in this country, to be able to reap the benefits of being free. My family came from communist East Germany. Um, you know, they lived in a totalitarian system that enslaved people, that used forced labor, that imprisoned people, that stifled free speech, that gave no freedom to the press. It was a system that locked its own people up. My family suffered under this regime, starved, hungered, labored for 60 plus years. Their sacrifices led me to where I am, led me to being born here, to be free, to be able to speak my mind. And for that, I'm very grateful, extremely grateful, even. Um, but with that comes a moment where we need to take collective responsibility as Americans. Um, I don't take pride in speaking negatively about my country, but there are times you have to do this. This is one of these times. I think it's really time for us to sit down and think hard about the American election system, about the political system, the establishment that clearly runs this country. It used to always be dismissed that there's no establishment that runs this country. There's no elite. If there's no establishment, why can't a basic guy get into federal politics? You need millionaire donors, big banks, mega corporations, big organizations, politicians, political parties, endorsements from very powerful people to even get into anything, really. Senate, Congress wise, presidency. We never see an average, average workforce American get into the presidency. It's always rich people, you know, career politicians, party apparatchiks, much like the Soviet Union, ironically, or East Germany in my case, that get into the presidency, that ascend the highest levels of government in this country. It's interesting. There is a huge backlash from conservatives. Trump's own lobby is abandoning him over this whole Epstein thing. It's crazy because I have never seen anything quite like this before. And the sad reality is, as V put it in V for Vendetta, which is one of my favorite movies, if you're looking for the guilty party, you need only to look into a mirror. The truth is that there is something very terribly wrong with this country. Of all the westernized nations, we are probably the most corrupt. We speak of human rights. We speak of freedom, democracy, freedom of speech, freedom of the press. We have all these great things, but our system is so abhorrently corrupt. And I think that this backlash on the Epstein files, which we even are now seeing Fox News attack the Trump administration. Fox News is always, in my own experience of when my own father would watch it, backed Republican presidents and politicians to the T. There was no questioning them. And even now we're seeing Fox News going against the president's administration over this Epstein file scandal. I think that the backlash is, it's not just the Epstein files. It's the big driving force behind it. But I think for a lot of Republicans and a lot of conservatives that have voted for Trump, and this includes both the MAGA lobby and those who would really not even consider themselves part of that MAGA crowd, it's a boiling point. This is the straw that broke the camel's back. But there are certainly much bigger factors at play here. I feel like this is the boiling point of the broken promises. There is so much wrong with this country. And there are so many promises that Trump gave that are just not being delivered. He promised to end the wars. None of the wars have stopped. Russia and Ukraine are still going at it. Ukraine and Israel are still exchanging missiles. Israel just bombed the Syrian Defense Ministry. The release of the Epstein files didn't happen. He promised increase of oil drilling. Oil drilling has actually been declining during his presidential administration. Promised to lower prices. Prices continue to surge. Tackle inflation. Inflation has only gone up. Promises to work for the working people, but yet we're seeing laws being passed that now defend employers, big chains, banks. He defunds nursing homes, hospitals, doctors' clinics, food programs for the poorest and most afflicted families in our communities. He wanted to tackle the cost of living issue, but the cost of living is only increasing. There are incredible tax cuts to the rich, but these tax cuts only affect the rich. They don't affect clinics. They don't affect public services. They don't affect the poorest working class Americans. Why are the richest among the rich getting tax cuts? The ones who need it the least. It's the working class citizens that need tax cuts. It's promises like tracking the national debt. The national debt has only gone up during his presidential administration. It has actually not slowed down. It's increased in speed. Promised to cut spending, yet his spending is out of control. This big, beautiful bill surged spending in massive amounts. The list of broken promises is adding up. So much so that even in some of the most conservative states, like Georgia or my own state, now we're seeing a surge in Democratic support again. And this is only 4 months. Actually, no, we're actually past 4 months. We're 6 months into his presidential administration now, my bad, that we're seeing a surge in Democratic support. I think that between all those broken promises, boiling things up, getting people really riled up, but they were afraid to speak out, as many are in political situations in this country. This Epstein file thing could very well cost President Trump the midterms. And that's just a fact. There comes a time for accountability, and that accountability has to be now. I don't care what side of the political spectrum you're on, whether you consider yourself a Democrat, a Republican, a Libertarian, a Communist, a Nazi, whatever. I have never seen this country as united as I have right now over this Epstein thing since the day after 9/11. This is drawing together people from all corners and all parts of the political spectrum. This is the most united that I've ever seen anybody in this nation. I think the time for accountability is now, and it needs to happen. I think no matter what you believe, what political spectrum you're on, clearly there is an Epstein list. Clearly there is a list of very, very, very powerful people that was his clientele. There are people out there such as Ben Shapiro and other also leftists and Democrats that are defending it, like, oh, that's no big deal, you know. I can't remember what talk show host it was. He was on Cuomo's show on CNN talking about, well, I don't know why everyone's making a big deal. I'm gonna go out for dinner tonight and have a good old time. I don't care about that. You don't care about the fact that there are very powerful people that are raping kids? Because I feel like that's a moral issue. There were children, and I mean children, little children, ranging from ages of 6 to 12 years old that were being raped by the very people that are in charge of things in this nation. And in other nations as well. And you don't see a problem in that? I do. As someone who has a son who is 3 years old now, I see that as extremely problematic. That boils my blood. It infuriates me. The time for accountability has come. And I think that we will be witnessing over the next few weeks, hopefully, an increase in anger, an increase in protests, and an increase in demanding action and accountability on this. The time for accountability is now. It is time for this presidential administration to deliver on its promises. It stands to lose everything. And the very first thing they're going to lose is going to be the midterms. If President Donald Trump does not want to see a Democrat reelected in 2028, he needs to course correct. And this whole thing of him going on Truth Social or X or whatever and going, I don't know, stop talking about Epstein, that seems to me like a panic reaction. So I'm going to leave it at that. Appreciate you guys watching this. Like I said, I firmly believe that there comes a time for accountability, and the time for accountability is now. That time has come. It must happen. People must demand accountability. They need to release this damn list. People have a right to know that they're being governed by perverts and pedophiles. It is disgusting. The time for accountability and the time to demand it and to demand action and to put these people behind bars and give these children justice is now. It's not time to sweep this under the rug. It's not time to forget about it or talk about how it's not a big deal. It is. There were children being raped. The time for accountability is now. Thank you for watching this.